One time, I found a phone on the side of the road. I was driving home later at night, probably like 10 p.m. Things were quiet. As I came to a stop at a red light, I casually looked around. The intersection that I was at was busy during the day, but at night, not so much. I was next to a divider that was to my left, and I noticed something on the ground. It appeared to be a phone. I opened up my door and looked closer, realizing that it was in fact a cell phone, so I picked it up. It had been raining outside, so the phone was pretty wet, and I figured it was probably broken. But after looking closer, I saw that it was an iPhone, and I hit the power button and it actually turned on. After that, the light turned green, so I had to finish driving home. But once I was back, I took the phone out and looked at it. Nothing appeared to be wrong with it, and I wanted to return it to the rightful owner. The phone was password protected though, so I had no clue who it belonged to. I tried 1234 as the passcode and some other obvious ones, but none of them worked. After that, I tried using voice commands. I asked Siri who the owner of the phone was, and she said the phone belonged to Brian. Now I had a name, but unfortunately, it was a pretty common name. I asked Siri Brian's contact information, but I was told that the phone had to be unlocked for that. That was the same for everything else. I tried a lot of other commands, but didn't get any results, so I only had the one name to go off of. After that, I decided to make a post on Craigslist that I found somebody's cell phone. I described where I had found it and included a picture of it, and asked for the owner to get in touch with me. Within a day, I got a reply. The first reply, though, was somebody claiming that the phone was theirs. I asked them what their name was. If they answered with anything other than Brian, I knew it wasn't theirs. The first person didn't want to give me their name and asked me why I wanted to know. I said because I know the name of the person who the phone belongs to, and I want to make sure that it's you. They responded saying their name was Joe, and I knew that they weren't the owner. Sometime later, though, I got another reply with somebody saying that it was their phone. When I asked them their name, they said Brian. I finally had found the owner. I was really happy, and I couldn't believe that it actually worked. I asked Brian where he wanted to meet to pick up his phone. Brian told me that he didn't want to cause me any trouble, and he could just stop by my house. When he said that, I thought maybe I shouldn't give him my address. But I told myself, I'm not selling anything on Craigslist, I'm just returning the phone to the owner. So I convinced myself that it was fine, and I gave Brian my home address. He told me that he would stop by at 8 p.m. to pick up the phone. I agreed, and that night at around 8 p.m., there was a knock on my front door. I went over and answered it, and Brian was there. Or at least I assumed that's who he was. He had sort of short reddish hair and was about average height. I said hi to him and then handed him the phone. He took it and then asked me where I found it. I told him, and he was like, "Oh yeah, that's crazy." Then he just kind of stood there for a few seconds. I was about to say, "Well, have a good night now," and then close the door. But then randomly, he asked me if he could come inside for a minute. I didn't want him to. I knew nothing about this guy, and I certainly knew better than to let him into my house. Plus, I was the only one home at the time. So I told him that I was about to go to bed, and then I started to shut the door. He kept standing there, but said okay. I then closed the door and locked it. Then I turned out the lights right inside. It didn't seem like Brian was walking away though, so I went over to the living room window to look. When I did, I saw Brian still standing there on the front step. It was really weird. Then, probably 30 seconds later, he slowly walked back to his car that was parked on the side of the street. He got inside, and I was about to walk away, but I wanted to see him leave. He sat inside of his car, but did not immediately drive away. I kept watching, and I wasn't going to leave until he did. For like 5 minutes, he was just sitting inside of his car. Then he got out of it again. He started walking back up to my front step, and I had a bad feeling when I saw this. I didn't know what he could possibly want. I was expecting him to maybe knock on the door or something, but he didn't. Instead, he stood on the front step and looked around for a few seconds. Then he started to walk away to the side of the house. When he was out of sight, I finally moved and went to another window. I went to my bedroom, and when I got to the window, just barely saw him go out of sight and behind my house. Now he was in the backyard, and I didn't like this at all. I moved to another back window and then turned on a back light to outside. When it went on, I saw Brian continue to walk through my backyard, but now to the other side of my house. Then he casually walked around the back to the front yard. Once he was there, he returned to his car. Then he started the engine and drove away. I was really weirded out by this. He had made a complete lap around my house. After he drove away, he didn't come back that night. At least not that I'm aware of. I still wonder what he was doing though. My best guess is maybe he was going to try to break in, and when I turned the light on, it possibly scared him off. I really don't know. Either way, it was very weird.